Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Forensic Astrologer Show. I'm Val Evans, and thanks for joining us tonight. I've got Grace Wilson, another forensic astrologer here, who joins me. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Val.
Great to talk to you. It's been a while, it's been a few weeks.
Well, it's been hot.
I know we haven't felt like analyzing as much, but we're on tonight, and I think it's going to be a great show because we've got charts. We've got a story that has intrigued a lot of people for decades, and we'll dig into that tonight. We're just going to talk to a couple, or we're going to talk about a couple of the victims of the Zodiac. We have their times. And we're going to do some background first before we get started. The very first victims were Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, and they were killed on December 20th when they were just parking their car. It was at night. Dave Faraday was on his first date, and they were in his station wagon, and I think just doing first date stuff. And along comes this guy and kills both of them. And so it seemed like a random crime at the time. And after that, it was just, and I know that the families had come out in the news and talked to investigators and had said they were just dumbfounded. Both families were just absolutely dumbfounded. They couldn't imagine who would want to have killed these innocent kids who were just out on a date. So let's look at the letter he sent here. Where is it? Okay. It was very well written, but well written in a sense of, in a very Virgo type of way, by the way, but it's misspelled. Now, if this guy writes in code, if he was an engineer, it's obvious to me that this is fake, that he did not spell this way in his life. This was just all fake. What do you think?
Well, I was watching a YouTube video about this, and the trigger mech, that's an engineering term.
There
Uh,
you go.
so
Yeah,
that's
some engineers aren't good spellers, so we can't really use
uh,
that. Yeah, I know. I think it's just to throw the police off. It's
I think it
clear
was
though.
too.
Yeah, it's clear that they think he thinks that the police are a bunch of dummies. But here's what's really interesting. Tom Voigt, who struck up a friendship with Don Cheney, and they wrote back and forth much, much later. And I honestly can't remember who Tom is. Was he like a reporter or something like that? He was writing a book or something. And anyway, Don Cheney, who was friends with Arthur Lee Allen, who many people thought for a long time was the Zodiac. Don and Arthur were friends, but he got this note from Don. Did you see this?
I have never seen this.
Okay, and he was just writing something, but the whole point was that the police wanted to get the actual um, wanted to get the original because he had spelled victim wrong, and he spelled victim wrong in the other letter. And so it just seemed like, and this is from Don Cheney. So I'm going to say that on the one hand, Don and Arthur, who were friends, it's very possible that they could have done it. In
Now that handwriting looks a lot alike, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, yeah, it's another Virgo trait where it has to be, or Capricorn, uh, very straight, very
He put it on graph paper.
yeah, that is really interesting. So they spelled victim wrong. I don't know. Maybe he just did that to cause controversy. I don't know. But anyway, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to the next chart. And this is for Darlene Farron and Mike McGo. Darlene was the waitress. And Mike actually, um, he survived. And he was able to I guess contribute to this what do you call it, drawing
Sketch, yeah.
sketch, that's what I'm looking for. And I think, let me see, this is blue rock, right?
Yes.
Now this is a little bit more complicated. This looks like a mess. Can you
It
walk us
does.
through this? And
Um,
not because of you, okay? Just
sure.
because of, like, we've got a mystic rectangle, we've got various T squares. It looks horrible.
Okay, I want to point something out though in this chart,
Mhm.
because this chart was the first phone call. He wrote a letter before, and with this one, he made a phone call. And with
Yes.
the next one, he made a phone call.
And
So,
this one, I believe he said, "Oh, and by the way, this is how I killed on the first one 6 months ago or whatever." If
yeah,
I'm
those two kids in December.
Yes, that's how he
Mm-hmm,
described it, right?
mm-hmm,
So they were able to say, "Okay, this guy is a serial crazy man."
mm-hmm. So, lots of zeros in this chart. And if you look in Taurus at, well, in Gemini, at 0 Gemini, we have prey. And prey is opposite Mars. And that is
Mm.
like a signal because it's in the eighth house of death. So that's like a serial killer signature,
Oh, wow.
because if this is his second one, if he didn't do Bates, then this is when he became a serial killer. Now, Pallas is at 0 Capricorn. This was meticulously planned. This
Okay.
guy, you know, and if you look, that's opposite Patsy.
Mhm. And explain Patsy for us.
Well, Patsy is an asteroid, meaning someone who takes the fall.
Mhm.
But if you follow that, it goes over to, it's in a T square with Uranus, which is also at a 0 degree.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so you've got a nice little T square, right?
Mm.
Where the phone call in the ninth house down to the third house, and the Patsy, he's trying to set someone up.
Okay.
Now, another thing that
Right.
I
So
noticed,
Mercury here in the third, that's a phone call.
yes,
Yeah. Hmm.
yes, and he's calling the police.
Right. And the
Um,
police are major, major figure because you've got Aries here. So I
mhm,
suppose Aries would be, you wouldn't necessarily say the victim, but you'd say the people that were receiving the call, and that would be police, which is represented by Aries.
right.
Okay. So you've got prey. Now, if you were to look at any chart that seemed to be a serial killer's signature, would you pull prey?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's also another one, which is Ramirez,
Okay.
and it was named after. It wasn't named after Richard Ramirez, but it shows up in serial killer type.
Okay.
Um, but if you look at Uranus at 0 degrees, it's
Hmm.
surrounded by a few asteroids. I'm not going to go into all the names because we don't really have a lot of time. But the asteroids give it a sense of engineered destruction or and to victimize. So
Hmm.
that's the power dynamic that's going on right there. Now, what's funny, or not funny, but what's interesting is the moon is at sheep, which is, you know,
Ah,
something to cry up, or it's a very
yes.
misfortunate um, fixed star, but it's also conjunct the asteroid Gun.
Okay.
So
And
I think that
why did you pull gun? Just because it's a gun?
I didn't pull gun. I
Oh,
found it there. I just saw it there
oh,
and was like, oh,
okay.
that's interesting.
Okay.
Um, Now we have Venus in the second house is opposite Avery in the eighth house.
Okay.
Now, there was a Halloween card sent to a Paul Avery at the, I think, the San Francisco Chronicle.
Yes.
So that that really speaks to me. That was part of his, what he wanted to do.
Hmm.
Um,
And but
so
it's next to Neptune, which would make you think that it's like something's fake about it.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe the
yeah.
handwriting or what he's trying to
But
do.
the interesting thing is this exact same reporter um, went to school with Don Cheney.
Ah.
Hmm.
I
So,
got a question here. I wonder if Mercury next to Sun can indicate a double identity, a double name. And she must have written this right as we were talking about that. But yeah, absolutely a double name, Arthur Lee Allen, right?
hmm
I'm starting to think here that it was both of them. But what stumps anybody is that there was no DNA match.
right
I don't know. But anyway, I'm
on.
sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Um,
that's fine. That's fine. Um, so, and as you can see, a lot of energy in this chart. You know, this guy is meticulous, and you can see in the fourth house, he's got the Sun conjunct Black Moon Lilith, and it's opposite Arthur in the 10th house.
mhm.
And he does eventually accuse Arthur. Don Cheney accuses Arthur of this crime
That's
publicly.
right. That is right.
Hmm.
And that's really interesting because when you see a straight, vertical fall like that, it shows a person's downfall. So if it were his friend, I would want to see Mercury's pretty close, but you'd want to see it around here, like the friend was the one that brought him down.
Hmm.
But it's also interesting to see the opposition with Sun. So I don't know. I would say seeing that at the top with that opposition gives a clear case that it could have been him
Hmm.
as one of the killers.
Yeah,
Uh,
very interesting.
yeah.
So if you go to over to Lake Berryessa,
Yes. Is that big enough? Let me see.
well, I can't see it.
You can't? Uh,
No.
uh,
Do you have the mocked up one?
wait a minute. That's the only one I have. Hold on. Nope, that's the only one I have. Hold on.
Okay, well, I'll
You
just
talk.
have to.
See if I can upload it while you talk.
Okay, let me.
No, I think I've got it. Did you email it to me?
I did in the last email.
The last one. Okay.
So just to kind of uh, give you a sense of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The asteroids around the AC are about abuse, hatred, and revenge.
Okay.
That's pretty uh, self explanatory there. We've got Cheney in the first house at 22 degrees, which is, the bad. And there's an asteroid next to him that means eminent legacy.
Okay.
Now, if you look uh, at Arthur, who's in the 12th house
Mm-hmm.
of hidden enemies or secrets. So, was he a secret or is he a hidden enemy? I'm not sure. But he's opposite Donald in the 6th house.
Ah, okay.
Now, Donald is conjunct Morse, and Morse is a asteroid that talks about, or it infers codes,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then
Oh,
we
wow.
have,
What made you think
yeah,
to do that? That is brilliant.
yeah. Um, and there's another one. Uh, let's see. Um, so Patsy is right here in the 7th house at 29 degrees, right?
Yep.
And it's trine Neptune
Mm-hmm.
and it's trine Chiron on the 3rd house.
And
So
what does,
this is a phone call. So
okay.
um, you know, but around Neptune is revenge, jealousy, and violence. So he was just really crazy. Like he had really gotten into it by this time. He was on a tear. So here at the IC, you've got the moon at 0 degrees. Again, that's
Mm-hmm.
another, that whatever's starting is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Saturn at 7 um, Taurus, which is conjunct. No, I'm not going to remember it. Uh, it's conjunct
Yeah.
a fixed star Hamal, which means a cruel and premeditated crime.
Okay.
And it also has an asteroid there meaning disaster.
Okay.
And also with Donald's name is Lachesis. He decides when you die. And Vulcanus, which is violence and brutality. So you can see in this chart uh, that he's really amped it up by this time.
Well, when you see Saturn and Moon together, that automatically is death, and I shouldn't say automatically. There are always exceptions, but it's always the first thing I see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a phone call. So I guess the 3rd house is a phone call about death in a sense, and it's to the police,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's Aries here.
Capricorn. Mm-hmm.
But look at this. Mercury right next to Sun. 2 murderers again. And guess what? They're engineers. Uranus.
Mm-hmm. Now, the asteroids near that Sun, Uranus, Mercury, horrible acts, chaos, destruction, mass shooting, and terrorism,
Good Lord. Okay. And geez,
right?
that stellium around there just, it emphasizes.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yep. And then we have Mars. He's in the 12th house of self undoing. And what's interesting about that is he's sort of close to Arthur, not quite, but about 4 degrees. And I like to keep my asteroids really tight. So
Mhm,
I think it's important that they're both in the 12th house.
mhm.
But the asteroids around Mars is a witness revealing secrets and a partner.
Yes. They
And
told,
Dawn did. Dawn told
yes. They had a
on
partnership.
Arthur. Hmm.
So, what do you say to the people who are like, well, we think it's Don Cheney. We don't really think it's Arthur Lee Allen, yet these charts seem to show that they were both in on it and one just told on the other.
Yeah. I wonder if Arthur was the first killer
Hmm.
and then Dawn was the second.
Hmm. Yeah, he just took it over or something. And I noticed that there was a timeline too where Don said he was only friends with him up until 1968. And then the killings continued. So you wonder if
Hmm.
that's true or not. Now,
Yeah.
one of the, like, you can't make this stuff up, where
No.
Don Cheney talks about how he met up with Arthur Lee Allen because he got fired. He was fired because I think it was for child molestation, or he got busted doing something. And Don Cheney said he went to go and wanted to make him feel better. So we went over to his house, had some beers, whatever. And the guy's like, you know what? Arthur Lee says, I'm going to get into contract killing. And he also, Don Cheney notices that he has a Zodiac scuba diver's watch on. So just these kind of details really make the whole concept feel more authentic, I think, than if you were just to make something up. And who knows? Maybe the watch is part of this whole thing. And what represents watch? That's Mercury.
Mercury.
Mercury. So you've got
Mm-hmm.
Zodiac watch, killer's Zodiac watch at the top. Now, not that that has anything to do with it, but maybe he's wearing it because of Virgo's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Arthur there. But I think a contract killer, though, he probably wouldn't have done it with the 1968 murder. But the 69, there were a couple of people who did not like the victim very much, meaning her ex-husband or two husbands. And they were interviewed and cleared. But maybe it's possible that he did want to become that contract killer. And we know that contract killers, sometimes the signature is second house types of stuff. So, like we have Alan and Venus. Now, this was the phone call, though. But it's just something that I think about when I see the second house, when the phrase contract killer comes up. We're going to look at Don Cheney. Here he is.
Okay.
Don Cheney is the one where people thought that, or much later, that he was the actual Zodiac killer. And DNA was run on him and he was cleared, as was Arthur Lee Allen. So just getting that out there. So what do you got?
Well, I want to point you to first, let's look at Mercury in Aries, and it's opposite Jupiter in Libra. So I think he was, it shows that he was against the police. Wanted to be one, he couldn't because of his past.
Okay.
And so he didn't get to be one. Now, the most important thing, not the most important thing, but one important thing is Mars conjunct Sun. So that's a powerful, explosive person.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sun square Pluto and Mars square Pluto.
Oh, God.
And that's power.
And with
this
Black
dude,
Oh, yeah. Black and Lilith, you've got with Pluto is like 1,000 times sinister.
And you've got Patsy with the moon at 15 degrees Virgo. And this is opposite Alan and Venus in Pisces, like right between them.
So Patsy meaning someone who
takes the fall.
Then Moon, which is famous Patsy.
Yes. And then Neptune at the 9 degrees of Virgo, that's a body in a ditch degree.
Body in a ditch.
So that means he's going to lie about a murder. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. And there'd be a scandal, and there'd be a huge mystery, a famous mystery. Oh, God, I think this chart says it all.
I know.
He was one of them.
And Arthur is at 0 degrees. 0 degrees Aries. No, 0 degrees Taurus.
Okay. And Arthur's in his hidden enemy area,
Right. Or secret. Arthur
or
may
his
be his secret. Yeah. Or he
this.
may have been his self undoing, but it wasn't because Don Cheney's passed and he didn't ever. Um, and I think so was Arthur. So
And
I
with
don't think they
Uranus,
ever.
oh, you don't think they ever would?
I don't think they. Yeah, they didn't.
They
Uh,
didn't.
didn't get their what they needed.
Okay.
I'm
Well, look,
sorry,
this,
punishment.
yes, Uranus in the 12 secret zodiac, Arthur Zodiac, that was his undoing. His whole life was the secret of the Zodiac killer, which would be
Hmm.
12th house of secrets, with Morse in there as the code.
Hmm.
Uh, and then you've got friendship, which is Mercury.
Hmm.
You've got the secret about the watch,
Hmm.
the Zodiac watch that Arthur Lee wore. Yeah.
And then you have Pallas at 9 degrees Aries, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that, uh, wait a
Oh,
minute,
Palace. Palace is
nine
code.
degrees.
Well, but it's a code too. It's just like Morse, and Palace is like decoding stuff. So it's like a mystery
And it's
code.
also meticulous planning.
Okay. Okay.
So it's trine, doesn't really show it, but I think no, it's just opposite Jupiter and the
Yep.
vertex and the seven.
And for anyone
But
trying to figure out what we're doing, we are reading the birth chart of Donald Lee Cheney, who is a suspect for the Zodiac murders. And we, I think we both think that he teamed up with Arthur Lee Allen,
mhm,
even though they were both, I believe they were both cleared. But it sure
yeah,
seems like in Donald Lee Cheney's birth chart that he he could have been a killer and a serial killer.
yes, obviously. Um, Maybe him and Arthur did the first one.
Hmm.
And then Don was his helper, but he didn't actually kill anybody. So then when they go on to the next ones, Don has a different partner and he starts using Arthur as the patsy.
As the
Because if he blamed Arthur for his crimes, then they wouldn't be able to, you know, find any evidence against Arthur. So they would be spinning their wheels and he was deflecting.
Yeah. What do you think? What does it say about Don Cheney that his ascendant is in Taurus? Like, do we have, I wonder, any evidence about Cheney where eating or money or relationships or luxury, like I don't recall seeing that, but
Well, I think he was a kind of a fat man, wasn't he? Like
yeah,
not
yeah,
fit, but kind of a belly,
yeah.
if I remember. So, that's
But when he did these murders, he was very young, so it would be hard to really associate something Taurus related. Oh, except his name. What is his name? Cheney. And this is one of the biggest clues and one of the reasons I put this on the thumbnail. It's a tree, and Cheney is an oak tree. So we see the ascendant show a person's name all the time, and so that is one indicator of Taurus is the name itself, and maybe a famous a famous killer with the
right.
sun right here. Uh, Moon means fame. Um, and look at how we have Pluto at 22 degrees
Hmm.
in the fourth house,
Hmm.
that's the death house, a death house, trine Venus at 18 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So possible that he thinks of women as maybe they're evil.
Yes. I picked that up from this. He has, you don't have the mocked up one, and I
No, I looked
apologize.
in your email. I only had three. The one that you just sent, I had this one, and then I had two others, but I didn't
But
have
did you have one? I thought I marked up the Don Cheney.
You may have, but I didn't get it in that email. You might have sent it in the email before that,
Okay.
and I didn't see that. Yeah, I only got three: the Donald Cheney one, and then I got this one, and then this one.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, um,
Okay.
what's this?
Okay. I've got it now.
Okay.
Okay. Right on his AC, along with Mars and the Sun, is Photographica, family scandal, and controlling parents.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh wow.
that talks a lot about what's going on
Yeah, absolutely.
in his family. Like he had trouble communicating.
Mm-hmm.
He was very rigid. He was very narcissistic.
Hmm. This the square here to Black Moon Lilith is powerful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
now, what when you're a criminal, okay, your friend is Black Moon Lilith. Why? Because, and it's what I explained in a past video that I've done. It's like a black curtain. You, as a criminal, you pull a black curtain and nobody can see, and it's like night. You could do whatever you want. And so imagine with the emphasizer of Pluto there. That is one big curtain.
Mm-hmm.
With the squaring here, I don't know. What would a square mean? Would it mean that it?
Well, it means there's no way out.
Mhm.
Do you mean the shape of the square? The two
Well,
T
the
squares?
square. I'm just thinking. Does it mean that he's trying to cover up the code, and he's having a hard time? Because it's obvious with a square, that's a hard time doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So he's having a hard time with this secret, maybe.
Yeah, because he blurted it out.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's a lot of sinister right there when you have Pluto, which is times 1,000 at 22 degrees, which you often point out in charts, and then the 20th degree of Scorpio, um, and especially, it's actually, I'd say it's a lot of revenge towards women, and
Yes.
and with these criminals, they are born with that feeling. Now, maybe it's something too that's developed as they get, as they mature, but sometimes there's just that innate, there's a reason that they have this feeling to kill, and
Mm-hmm.
especially females. I
Yeah.
really am, I'm intrigued about the Mercury though too, because Mercury would be letters.
Mm-hmm.
That would be that is the main part of this whole mystery, are those letters, zodiac letters. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, this is the answer right here, his 12th house. That's all you need. Now, where's the DNA? Yeah, that's in our world, that's all you need. But the DNA here, it's in the 12th. Nobody can get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can get to it except who? Like who can get the code. Now, there was a group that was successful decoding some of it, and that's the 11th house. Remember, there was a bunch of decoders over COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to get the code.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting.
Yes. But the code, they believe, the code breakers believe that the
Hmm.
code points to Gary Francis Post.
That's right, and I'm glad you said that. Another person with two names,
Hmm.
three names, but two first names. So, yeah, that's a good point.
So, was he another friend?
Yeah.
Somebody that Don knew, and he just threw that in there?
And of course, post, post has to be a word
Male.
that is represented by Mercury. So,
Hmm.
with part of fortune at 22 degrees and trining Arthur and Uranus, meaning zodiac, that's success. Success is a
Hmm.
murderer.
Hmm.
So I guess as a murderer, you'd want that in your chart.
Yep.
You'd want to trine to part of fortune because in any chart, I'll look at career charts, birth charts, event charts, medical charts, surgery charts, whatever. I always, part of fortune is one of the first points that I look at. And it sure says a lot here. And it's sextiles prey
Hmm.
and Saturn, in a sense,
Hmm.
more or less,
Which is
which is,
an opportunity.
yeah, an opportunity to, or death. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess we should probably look at Gary Francis posts too, if we were going to be fair.
Well, we could do that next time. We could do a little update.
Yeah, we'll do an update. And yeah, I'd like to look more at the letters, maybe do some analysis on the letters. Not the letters themselves, but maybe the charts of the letters, when they were received and all of that. But
Do we have that timestamp?
I don't know, but I'm going to find one.
Well, I study statement analysis,
Hmm.
so I could look at it under that lens, and I might
Okay.
find something interesting. I might not, but couldn't hurt to try.
Well, if you see the 11th house here, that's a group.
Hmm.
Saturn is death group.
Hmm.
So that's more in, again, another thing in favor of there being more than maybe two people here.
Um, like I said, I think maybe it was Arthur and Don, and then it was Don
Later.
and someone else. And so
Yeah.
that would be a group,
Yeah.
but not necessarily all at the same time.
Well, and your partners in a birth chart, look at what rules his partnerships. Scorpio.
Right.
So he had secret partners. And what
Hmm.
were they? They were at the 2 degrees. 2 degrees is the best partners.
Hmm.
So that would make sense. Usually this would be your hidden enemy house, but he had partners in his hidden enemy house. You would think that they'd be foreign, that there'd at least be one foreign person there. But I like how you added Morse there. And it's right next to Mercury, which is a code,
Hmm.
and the code to police. Even though, where's Mercury? Is that, what sign is it in? Can't even
It
see it.
is in Aries
Okay, okay.
at 16 degrees
Talking to
Aries.
police, secretly
Hmm.
talking to the police. Like you can't get any better than this
Nope.
from an astrological clue point of view. So anyway, I think that's all I have. Do you want to add anything?
No, I just would like to say that this was fascinating. I had never heard of I've read and read and read about the zodiac, but probably about 10 years ago, I was like, well, I've read everything there is to read about it, so I don't, get any new books.
Hmm.
But, lately, when I read that during the COVID, I got a few more books,
Hmm.
and, you know, lo and behold, there's a Don Cheney.
I know. And of
And
course
so,
his name has to be an oak tree.
mhm,
He's a Taurus.
that's
And
it.
then and Bundy was a tree too. That's an Australian tree. He had a lot of Taurus in some of his charts too.
Yeah, he did.
look at we could look at that as well. But yeah, it was fascinating. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll take a look at some other charts very soon.
Okay, we'll see you later.
All right.
Bye
Thanks
bye.
everyone for joining us. Bye.